They were just two young women, excited for the trip they had been planning for months. Twin sisters, dressed alike, smile as bright as the morning sun. But before the plane could even taxi down the runway, everything changed. A sudden announcement, hushed whispers among the crew, and cold, unblinking stares from passengers nearby. Moments later, they were escorted off the plane. No explanation, no apology. Just humiliation. Was this a misunderstanding? Or something far darker? What happened? Next would shake an entire airline. Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Aaliyah and Amara had always been inseparable, best friends, study partners, each other's safe place. Born minutes. Apart, they shared more than just a birthday. They shared dreams. This trip was memorable, their first vacation alone, a celebration of graduating with honors. They had booked business class seats, saved from years of part-time work. The morning was perfect. Airport check-in smooth, security quick, and boarding on time. Settling into their seats, they chatted about the beaches they'd soon be walking on, the photos they'd take, and the freedom of adulthood finally within reach. But beneath the hum of the engines, something felt off. A flight attendant kept glancing at them, whispering to a colleague. They brushed it off, thinking it was nothing. They didn't know that within minutes, their excitement would turn into one of the most humiliating moments of their lives. The first sign came when a flight attendant stopped beside their row, avoiding eye contact, and asked for their boarding passes again. Confused, they complied. Minutes later, a second attendant appeared, repeating the request. This time, there was a sharpness in her tone. The twins exchanged puzzled glances. Was there a problem with their tickets? They had checked in hours earlier without issue. Then, the captain's voice came over the intercom. "We need 2 passengers to step off the plane for additional verification." Every head turned. The sisters froze. "It's you," the attendant said quietly, gesturing for them to follow. No explanation, no details, just an unspoken pressure. As they stood, they felt the weight of dozens of eyes on them. In the jet bridge, they were met by 2 security staff who began questioning them about their reason for travel, their bags, and their identification. They answered everything politely, but the questions felt loaded, almost accusatory. One officer remarked, "You don't look like you can afford those seats." That was the moment the truth sank in. It wasn't about tickets or safety. This was about who they were. Young, black, confident. And in the eyes of some, that was reason enough to suspect. To humiliate, to remove without cause. The airline refused to let them back on board. Their luggage was returned, their vacation canceled before it began. Standing in the terminal, the sting of injustice was sharp, but they weren't going to let it end there. Aaliyah reached into her bag, pulled out her phone, and dialed a number she knew by heart. On the other end, their father's voice answered, a calm, measured tone that carried weight. He wasn't just any parent, he was the CEO of one of the largest corporate conglomerates in the country, a man with influence that could shake industries. He listened silently as his daughters explained every detail. Then, in the same steady voice, he said, "Don't leave the airport. I'll handle this." Within the hour, airline executives were on the scene, suddenly all smiles, offering rebookings, hotel stays, and compensation. But it was too late. The story had already begun to spread, and their father had already made a call that would change the airline forever. Days later, headlines told the story. Twins kicked off flight, airline faces backlash and CEO intervention. The company issued a public apology, suspended the staff involved, and announced mandatory anti-bias training for all employees. But for Aaliyah and Amara, the damage was deeper than any press release could repair. The humiliation, the reminder, That success and respectability don't shield you from prejudice. It lingered. They didn't just take the settlement. They used it to launch a foundation supporting young travelers of color fighting discrimination in the skies. And as their father said in a statement, "We don't want special treatment, we want fair treatment." How many more stories like this need to happen before fairness becomes the standard? Which country and city are you watching from? Take care.